Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming today. We are going to discuss most amazing book which has been living over thousands and thousands of years according to our vision, although actually Krishna has been told this book and very beginning of the creation. So practically this is eternal book. Who knows the name of the book? Bhagavad Gita. Jai. As it is. As it was, it will be in the future as well. So today we are going to continue on the universal form being revealed to Arjuna by Krishna. And verse today we are discussing, it's already kind of finished the whole thing. Now we'll see how Arjuna is going to react on the scene, on the vision he had. Okay, Bhagavad Gita 11:14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everybody can see the writing? Tataksa vismaya visto. Tataksa vismaya visto. Haristaroma dhananjaya. Haristaroma dhananjaya. Pranam shirasa devam. Pranamya shirasa devam. Kritanjalir abhashata. Kritanjalir abhashata. Tataksa vismaya visto. Haristaroma dhananjaya. Pranamya shirasa devam. Kritanjalir abhashata. Dasa vismaya visto. Haristaroma dhananjaya. Pranamya shirasa devam. Kritanjalir abhashata. Dasa vismaya visto. Nismaroma dhananjaya. Pranamya devam. Kritanjali avasatam. Pranamya shirasa devam. Kritanjali avasata. Yasa vismaya visto. Vistaroma dhananjaya. Vasa vismaya visto. Dhananjaya. Pranamya shirasa devam. Anjali Amasata. You can hear the power of the brahmachari voice. Mataji? Tadasa Vismaya Visto. Nisaroma dhananjaya. Pranamya shirasa devam. Anjali Abhasata. Vismaya Visto. So, word for word meaning, synonyms. Tata, thereafter. Sa, he. Vishmaya, avishta. Being overwhelmed with the wonder. Harishta Roma, with his bodily hairs standing on the end due to his great ecstasy. Prabhupada is so amazing. In 2 words, he can find all this meaning. Dhananjaya. Who is Dhananjaya? Arjuna. Pranamya. Offering obeisances. Shirasa. With the head. Devam. To the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krita Anjali. With folded hands. Abhasata. He began to speak. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed down his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands he begins to pray to Supreme Lord. Purport. Once the divine vision is revealed, the relationship between Krishna and Arjuna changes immediately. Before, Krishna and Arjuna had a relationship based on friendship. Oh, you read it. I thought you know by heart. But there, after the relation, Arjuna is offering obeisances with a great respect. And with the folded hands, he is praying to Krishna. He is praising the universal form. Thus, Arjuna's relationship becomes one of the wonder rather than a friendship. Great devotees see Krishna as a reservoir, the source or the place of all relationships. In the scriptures, there's a 12 basic kinds of relationships mentioned, and all of them are present in Krishna. It is said that he is the ocean of all the relationships exchanged between 2 living entities, between gods or between Supreme Lord and his devotees. Here, Arjuna was inspired by a relationship of wonder, and in that wonder, although he was by nature very sober, calm, and quiet, he became ecstatic. His hair stood up, and he began to offer his obeisances unto Supreme Lord with folded hands. He was not, of course, afraid. He was affected by the wonders of Supreme Lord. The immediate context of wonder, his natural loving relationship was overwhelmed by wonder, and thus he reacted in this way. Amagyan timirhandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadatara Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Krishna, Srimad Gopal Krishna Kusamtaramane, Prabhupada Sasaita, Just on the way here, we discussed that this word amazing, not very often, but it repeats many times. And because of that, there is one amazing verse. Who knows most amazing verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Most amazing word. So this is a place where the amazing mentioned 3 times. This is 2:29. In the beginning, and summarizing Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes the soul. And he says like this: some look at the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing, and some hear on him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So, same thing happened to Arjuna. He was amazed because although it is not wondrous to see the whole universe, from point of view, nowadays we have these so-called 3D models, and you can zoom out from the Earth, and you zoom out to the solar system and so on, and you can zoom out to the Milky Way and then the galaxies and so on, and just all the proportions go like this. But this is only one way to see it. Why Krishna's universal form, which was shown to Arjuna, was so different? Because all of those things which everybody could see from different points of view, even from material point of view, even from spiritual or mental point of view, was seen in one place at the same time, which was the unique thing which no one else can do. Of course, Acharyas explained that actually it was not so much needed, the thing, but that for the future, to prove that if you want to be claim of God, you have to show also the universal form. That's a kind of must-have of your itinerary, in a list, If you want to go, okay, look like Krishna, have gopis around, okay, so universal form. So I have to do it, But usually they just choose gopis, That's it. No universal form. Forget it. That's why there's a challenge for the all so-called incarnations of God. Sometimes we think that Bhagavad Gita is kind of a basic book. Would you think that Bhagavad Gita is ABC for the spiritual life? No. I wouldn't ask for explanation, but it's true. And I was amazed myself when I found out that these quotes, these examples from Bhagavad Gita is used by our acharyas, recent acharyas, and particularly one of the most prominent, which is Chi Chaitanya Manobhishtam, the Rupa Goswami, who established the idea, the mission of Lord Chaitanya on this earth. He used example of Bhagavad Gita and his Nectar of Devotion quite a few times. One thing is an example. For example, this is Nectar of Devotion, very, very beginning, the first chapter. It is mentioned, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna appeared in his universal form, Arjuna prayed, "My dear Krishna, I thought you are my cousin, my brother, so I have disrespected you in many ways, calling you Krishna or friend. But you're so great, I couldn't understand." So that was position of Pandavas, although Krishna was Supreme Personality of Godhead, of all greats, he remained with those Pandavas because of their devotion. So this is the example given that although Krishna is so huge, and the proof of that hugeness is his universal form, still he chose to have this medium-sized form of Krishna and spend his time with just Pandavas, the brothers, because of their devotion. So this is Krishna's unique quality, amazing quality. Another thing is, we know that Shrimad-Bhagavatam mentions different people having achieved perfection in different ways. There's 9 processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. Each of them has a perfect example. Who knows some of them? Just one or two.
Ambarish Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah, what was Ambarish Maharaj?
Ambarish Maharaj was engaging all the mind.
All of them, right. But okay, let's say single one. What is single one?
Eyes for taking the son of Lord, and this skin for...
Not exactly. Just what comes in the mind, for example, is prayers. Because in this particular verse, Arjuna starts to pray to Lord. Professor Basin says, and he starts to prayers. And usually, what's the best example? Perfection achieved by prayers was Akrura. Akrura. He was going to Vrindavan, and all the way on his chariot, he was thinking oh, I will meet Krishna, and I'll tell him this, and he will tell me that back, and I'll do this, and I will say to him, and all these prayers he was thinking, I will say to him, and actually in mind he was thinking what I'm going to tell Krishna, actually already the prayers for Krishna. That's an unusual trick. In such a way, because he was so absorbed in Krishna, and he was praying in a mind for Krishna, which he hasn't yet met yet, for some while at least. But he achieved perfection. But another way, there's also saying that nectar devotion, Rupa Goswami says, according to great learned scholars, the whole Bhagavad Gita contains many authorized prayers, which is not like so common. We usually say Shrimad-bhagavatam, this, but Bhagavad Gita has many authorized prayers, especially 11th chapter, where Arjuna prays the universal form of Lord. So he gives example that prayers given by Arjuna to Krishna are exemplary, and we can learn them. Just after this verse coming up, what Arjuna actually is saying to Krishna. So it's example. Another thing which we just read, what happened before he was praying to Krishna? Somebody remembers? Was that? Roma. Roma is what, Roma? Yes. These are example in same nectar devotion. As example of ecstatic symptoms, there's so many symptoms. But one of them is standing hairs on the body. Krishna would sometimes perform mock fighting along with the coward boys. When Krishna blew his horn in his mock fighting, Sridhama was opposite side. There's a coward boy parties, this party and that party, and then somebody is fighting, and then this winning and this is winning, and they're carrying each other on the shoulders. Sridhama, who was on opposite side, felt his bodily hair standing up. Similarly, when Arjuna saw Krishna in his gigantic nestle form, there was his hairs, body standing up. Like a peacock. But in ecstasy. Yeah. Additional symptoms. There's so many things. And there's a whole chapter actually about astonishment, about amazingness. Rupa Goswami explains the ecstasy of an astonishment can be received in two ways. One, direct vision. Another thing is hearing about something. Some amazing thing about each of them. Somebody sees something and gets amazed. Good example? Well, first of all, of course, Arjuna saw that Krishna's basically, he was amazed. Sure. Direct perception. Anything else? Devotees. Many devotees. One of the best examples Rupa Goswami mentioned is when Narada, he went to Dwarka. And what he saw there? So many palaces. And that's nothing. It's nothing. In this just small area of Dwarka, which is just, a few miles, there was so many palaces. How much was there? 60,100, yeah. For each queen there was palace. That's nothing. When he was going one palace, what Krishna was doing there? He was playing with the kids. Another palace, he was taking lunch. And the third palace, he was playing with the, dogs or whatever, the animals, home animals. And the fourth one, he was doing some sacrifices. Even more amazing, in some place, there was morning, and some place, there was evening, and some days was lunch. He was taking rest. So in the same Dwarka, because this is unlimited spiritual world, each palace adjusted the time and even weather, what's going on in that Krishna's palace. So that was amazing. Narada Muni said, I've never seen anything like this. So he was amazed. Yeah. Another thing, it was an example given by Rupa Goswami, is that one of the coward boys, I don't think it was an elderly coward man, he came to Yashoda and said, look at this Krishna. He is so affectionate to you. Anytime he comes and drinks milk because of affection. From other hand, look at the Govardhan. It's a huge Govardhan. It scratches the sky. It blocks the movement of the clouds. And look at him, what he's doing now. He's holding the whole Govardhan in his left small finger. Isn't that amazing? And she was like, really? It's true, that's my child. And she was amazed. Everybody was amazed. And of course, all the coward boys, and especially coward man, they couldn't believe they were pulling out their sticks and sticking up to the Govardhan. And then he was starting shaking because Krishna was looking at the gopis, and then he saw Balaram is looking, he gets shy and everything. Like a whole story going on. And that's amazing. But there's another story which is describing. Rupa Goswami says, when Lord Brahma, he was doing that nasty job of stealing coward boys and cows, and he returned was a few moments later after blocking them in some cave, whatever, and he sees everything back. So what he did, he couldn't believe, and couldn't believe means you have to tell someone. And it's when you do gossiping, this special type of communication. You know what I heard? So tell me what? Really? No. And he told that? And he did this? No. So, in the same way, when Brahma came back to Satyaloka, he was amazed himself. But himself amazed not enough. He find the party who's also amazed. Then amazement comes like double, triple. So he told all the inhabitants of Satyaloka, you know what happened? I stole coward boys and I come back and the Krishna is same. All coward boys back, coward backs. I don't know what's happening. I'm going to see they sleep and here's back. How it's happened, I don't know. So that's the story what he told in Satyaloka. And all of them, he said, no, it's impossible, it's impossible. And they were amazed, yeah. So this is amazement which going through the scriptures left and right. Because we know the amazement is one of the rasas, and it's mentioned by Prabhupada. There's actually basics, the five main ones, and then there's also amazement. But the important thing is that here it is mentioned about Arjuna. And we have to note very, very carefully what Prabhupada says here. And this is can you scroll down the last thing? Oh, sorry. No need. It's okay. Last paragraph there, and it's Prabhupada explaining that he was overwhelmed by this amazement, this adbhut, something unusual happening. And while that happening, his friendship kind of sank down. He was not really friendly anymore. He was not friendly. He was even at the servant level, even lower. He was just like, oh, I'm so tiny compared to Krishna. And of course, after a while, that whole thing became more like a painful experience. He said, no, it's enough. Krishna, please, okay, it's enough. I've seen that, okay, I believe you. You didn't have to show me. I knew that you are God, but now I'm even more convinced. But because of this amazement, which is not natural for me natural is to be a friend for you. We had a sit and joke, you are Krishna and friends, we have a fun together. Sometimes we go hunting and fighting and so on, but we are friends, And if I'm so amazed, I can't do anything. This amazement kind of stops the relationship and stops the service that friendship or the other rasas can do. And also, Prabhupada, I would say Acharyas a little bit behind the exact name, but in explaining those rasas, our acharyas say that depends on where you are, your relationship are more steady and strong. And since we know that Arjuna is not really an inhabitant of either Vaikuntha or even Vrindavan, some acharyas confirm he is an eternal companion of Krishna here in material world. Is it true or not? Have we heard this idea? Or I'm concocting? Or something new for you? No? Narayan. His incarnation, Narayan. Krishna, Arjuna. So, the more higher you go, your relationship with Krishna is more strong and steady. And this amazement is not so much hitting on you and changing. So two things actually can do. One, it is mentioned by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, if not mistaken, if you are committing too much offenses or something is going on, your rasa can be demoted. Like you are friend and you become servant. Or you become servant and you get offensive, you become neutral. You are not allowed to do service. You be allowed to be amazed, but you're not allowed to do seva because of offense. And same thing when those unusual things happen, like amazement or laughing, so many things, chivalry, they can be a little bit destructive. And because of that, your main rasa is kind of going down. So for inhabitants of material world, it happens all the time. All the rasa is changing. But the higher you go, it is less like that. It's more prominent. If you are friend, you're friend. Whatever happens, you're still friend. And Mother Yashoda, it doesn't matter. She saw universal form as well. Remember last time I told you? She saw universal form how many times? 2 times. First time when Krishna was yawning out. And second time when he was eating, not mud, And what happened to Yashoda? Because her affection to Krishna is so strong, it doesn't happen anything. She doesn't change. She doesn't say, I now have to serve, Or I'm amazed, Shantarasa. No, she's still mother. She's like, that's some nonsense. Forget it. Just go away. Something like this, yeah. What do we say? In the end of this amazement chapter, Rupa Goswami has very, very nice statement. Let me see. The activities of the person, this is chapter 46. The activities of a person, if they are not an extraordinary, create an impression of wonder in the heart and in the mind of the person's friend. But even very wonderful activities performed by the person who is not your friend create no impression. It's because of the love of wonderful activities create impression of mind. So the basic idea is, if you have a friend and he's doing something nice, you think, really, he's amazing, he's beautiful, he's really nice. And if the person who have no connection, mental connection to you, even if he's doing most amazing things, you don't care much, right? So therefore, important in this whole story is that your emotional connection to person actually decides. Some say love is where? In the eyes of the observer. If you look at the person and you think he's amazing, he's amazing. And that creates also the circle. It's explained. If Krishna sees some of your friends, especially gopis, being extremely happy, amazed, he wants to do more. And when he does more, then what happens? They are more amazed, they are happy. And then that goes up and down, like unlimited directions, up and down. So these is our things. We can go in the back in Bhagavad Gita. What is the first amazement when Krishna and Arjuna, very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, what do you think? What's the first time Krishna or Arjuna was amazed? It's just a guess, just a wild guess.
When he asked him to put the chariot in between the 2 armies.
Yep, time, and who was amazed?
Arjuna.
Arjuna amazed, yes, exactly. He was amazed. Amazed. People, my friends, the great acharyas, they're going to fight against me. He was amazed, they're going to fight against Krishna. Bhishma going to fight against Krishna. He was amazed. One of the things, later on, it moved to different type of emotion, and he was shaking and so on, so on. But the one thing he was amazed. And Krishna also said, where do you want to go? You want to find some new friends? He was a little bit like tricky, Why do you want to go to see? I want to see new friends, No, there was no friends. Actually, there were enemies, and he was amazed. So next time, when you see Prabhupada say about amazement, Krishna was amazed. What he was amazed about? He said, oh, Arjuna. Klabhyama Sagama. I was like, where these impurities come to you? You are Arjuna. You're a fighter. You've been training for this for all your life. You got the heavenly planets, you got the best weapons, you're trained. He was trained something, we eat like this, the darkness, switch off the light and you still can take rice in your mouth. And he said, oh, it's a good idea. I can shoot in the darkness. I don't have to see. So he trained even shooting in the darkness completely. And now there's some small impediments, some relatives are there and you are completely giving up and your hands and legs are trembling. What kind of things happening? He was amazed. It looked like just funny, but he was amazed. My best friend is doing this nonsense, And of course, when amazement finished, because of Arjuna's request, he said, I see, I want to hear from you. These things happen to me not very often. I think I have to get rid of it. I still want deep inside, I understand I have to fight, but I have to overcome. So he gradually starting to overcoming, but he was unable. And he said, okay, I need something more. I need like transcendental knowledge. Even Vyasa, all the gurus cannot, you can give me the ultimate knowledge. And he was requesting, because of that, the whole thing changed, and they were guru and disciple. Again, we see that friendship kind of a little bit diminished because of the situation. But it never happens to the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, and especially Vrindavan. There's nothing changing, Krishna can dress up like Gopi, He can make up him a singer. He's the best, makeup artist. He can be so perfect in dressing. You can see him like this in the front, and you cannot see it's Krishna. You think it's some Mataji coming here from Mathura, trying to teach the singing or dancing or painting or something like this. He is the best makeup artist. Many, many times. So, but still, everybody's amazed, but nobody changes. This relationship. That nobody becomes from the friend to servant or lower or something. This is completely different. That's why. Oh, Krishna, what else are we going to tell you? There's some few nice ideas. Okay. What comes to my mind? When Krishna appeared in the world, what do you think? His parents were, okay, another child, and they were amazed. They were amazed because this small child was walking around and there was footsteps around. Even that Chaitanya was appeared just recently, even more amazing. They didn't know whose footsteps are there. They just hear the ding, 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 going on. And they open the door, and a small Nimai is sleeping, and they see the footsteps all around. They say, oh, these are our deities. These are murtis walking around. Oh, let's make some feast. Something is happening. They didn't connect, but they were amazed. So all these activities of Krishna are amazing all the time. Beautiful, sweet pastimes that Krishna is doing. Brihad-bhagavatamrita. Who is that? Sanatana Goswami, right? Mm-hmm. He writes in the first book. Those unprecedented attractive features of Krishna's love, one struck with amazement. So also his pastimes, qualities, and pure love, his glorious virtues, and the place where he sports. All these things were creating this amazement. A little bit later, this is the third book. No one can describe the glories of his beauty but still I shall speak about them as far as I'm able. His beauty amazes even himself. That's a most amazing thing, that Krishna, when he looks in a marble wall which is polished, he looks, oh, someone's beautiful. Yeah, it's so beautiful. He doesn't connect that he's himself. That's for me, it's difficult to understand, But this is something about a spiritual realization can do with you. You remember this quite unusual situation when Srimati Radharani, she was condemning herself, saying, I am completely condemned because I fell in love with 3 people. Who's 3 people? One is in the picture, and one is playing in a flute, and the third one is description. So I like the guy who is playing flute, he is amazing. But the guy who explained you the Krishna, he is more beautiful. And this person he in the picture here, I like him also. So therefore I'm condemned. I love 3 persons. What kind of woman can fall in love at the same time to 3 men? That's I'm completely ruined, My life is, I better just go drown myself in the Yamuna. So same thing Krishna, when he looks at the reflection, he's, wow, who is that? Who is that? He's amazed. He's wondrous, He's so beautiful. And that's why he said it even attracts himself. Seeing him, the cows, birds, bushes, creepers, and trees all become ecstatic, Beauty is next in the list of Supreme Lord's opulences in Gokula. And Taksana is explained. Uddhava also explains, he's saying, Lord Krishna in his eternal form, this is from Shrimad-Bhagavatam 3:2-12. Lord Krishna in his eternal form, just suitable for his pastimes, These different forms, one is suitable for this, one is that, but Krishna's form is the best. It's meant to be, and it's amazing for his pastimes. He has appeared in the mortal world by his eternal potency Yogamaya. His pastimes are wonderful for everyone, even for those proud of their own opulence, including Krishna himself, in his form of Lord Vaikuntha. Thus, Krishna's transcendental body is an ornament of all ornaments. Yeah. There was one beautiful quote, I'm not sure I'm going to find it, where Akrura was praying. Let's see. When he sees, whatever, I remember by more or less by heart. When Akrura, he was driving Krishna to Mathura. All the painful, goodbye to the gopis and all inhabitants of Ravan happened already. So finally, somehow they escaped and Akrura is driving. And on the border of Mathura, what they did take some bath. It's a hot weather. It's lunchtime already, so they take bath. And Akrura, what did he see? He sees Krishna there, and he sees Krishna there. He sees in the chariot, and he's in the water. He's playing like a coward boy, and he is like a prince there. Looks different, dressed different, behave different. Same Krishna. He was like going there. There's one person going there. Another person. What's going on? And finally, he said, okay, I'm going to finish my own duties. I'm going to back to the chariot, and we just go to Mathura. What happened, I don't know. I cannot explain. And Krishna sits in the chariot, and what he says? Look at you. You're a little bit puzzled, Did you see something wonderful? Did you see something in the sky or water on the land which amazed you? Did you? And what Akrura says, whatever I can see, you are the source. Whatever I can see in the sky or land and the water, you are the ultimate source. And at the same time, whatever I wonderful want to see, it exists in you. So these were another prayers even after they met the Krishna and went to Mathura. These are the prayers Akrura said to Krishna. So he was amazed all the time. Said, well, at the same time, when you see that everything is in Krishna, the amazement kind of cooled down, right? Because everything is here, Hey, what's amazing? You are source of everything. But when Krishna starts explaining or even more showing those pastimes, impossible. All devotees getting ecstatic. Here standing an end, like prayers and so on. They get a little bit cooling down. I remember we just recently in Russian house we're giving classes also, and there's a story about Chitraketu. You know Chitraketu, king? The story about this crazy situation, having millions and millions of wives, no children. And finally he got a kid. And but then the story ends how he got cursed, how he became Ritasura. And he was flying in his flying airplane, whatever it is, amazing airplane. He was with many, many girls. He had a real brahmachari power, without even having any kind of relationship. Because you have spiritual potency, women are attracted to you. Sometimes Krishna also, it said he is brahmachari. Do you believe if I say Krishna is brahmachari, you believe that? Or not? It's a whole behind story. I'm not going to tell it now. So, when Chitraketu was flying, he had a lot of girls in his airplane, and he was flying and seeing that exactly similar thing happened. When Shiva was sitting and Parvati sitting in his lap, and he said, "Oh, what's going on?" And he was laughing. Not because he was having fun, but he was thinking, me are same. He's doing the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. We are the same guys, similar. And of course, Parvati didn't understand that. She said, well, wow, I don't know. My husband is a big person. Then who knows, some guy just flying by and laughing, and that's not proper. She cursed him. And what happened? He didn't say anything. He said, whatever happens, happens. Good for me, good for everyone. But then the Shiva started explaining and saying this and that and explained the whole beautiful nature of Chitraketu. And what happened? Then Parvati was amazed. She said, wow. But then amazement cooled down and she started acting sober. And she put the sari and shame. So amazement went away. So many, many amazing stories about this wondrous things in the world, and I think the form, if we would be able to see, because although Krishna says, nobody has seen before and nobody will see it, Acharya very nicely says, there were so many other demigods, saints, who could see that universal form which was shown to Arjuna. So therefore, let us hope one day we'll be that in entourage, by doing our duties, by chanting our rounds properly, and by praying to Prabhupada, serving him nicely, praying to Krishna, that will be part of that scene and we'll be seeing universal form. All the amazing things at one place. Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions or criticism? I could ask you a question. You want? You want a question for you?
Yes.
I have a good question for you. Your personal experience, what was most amazing you experienced in life? Who wants to answer first? Come on, all devotees. You can share.
When I was going from here, then I got the dream, I had a dream, like Krishna came in my dream and he said, you don't go from here. I was amazed.
Yeah, dreams about Krishna are not very common. I can tell you, one morning, my daughter, I think she was 5 or 6 years old. I know usually the girls, they like sleep in, Parents get up, and especially devotees, they chant the rounds, and I wake up and I see my daughter. She's sitting in the bed like this, What's going on? You pee in your bed or what's going on? I saw Krishna in a dream. Wow, tell me. Well, not exactly, but and she told me just few seconds. Sometimes in a dream you think you dream of you waking up. Happens like that, no?
Yes.
Especially your arm goes on and you think I'm up already brushing my teeth, and then next minute you understand you're still in the bed. It's true, happens. And same thing happened to her. So she, in a dream, she saw that somebody's waking me up. Time to go. Take wake up. Going to school or kindergarten. I can't remember. I was thinking school already. And she was waking up and like, oh, okay. And then she opens her eyes and something unusual. And she's kind of lying down on the lap of someone. And what she sees, is the lap, and there was some 2 blue feet. Like this, moving around. And she was like trying to, turn the head and like slowly, like, Chuk! And then she wakes up. And like, she was standing like, I couldn't see, I could see only feet, but who was that? In the face I couldn't see, and she was like, amazed and disrupted, and so, yeah. That's how people give, But not so many common, I think, dreams about Krishna. Many disciples of Prabhupada have experience of Prabhupada coming in a dream. Definitely a few stories like that. Prabhupada himself had quite a few dreams about his spiritual master coming and saying, "Oh, you take sannyas? You take sannyas?" Few times actually. Yeah. For us as a practicing devotees, this amazement is let's say a medicine, and also our needful appearance. If we see the same deities dressed the same way, and we are not amazed, after a while we get bored. It's get like a daily habit. But when festivals come, Mango Festival, Boat Festival, Jagannath Festival, whatever, we are getting amazed, we are getting excited. And because of our attachment to this Aishwarya, to opulence, if we don't see opulence, if we don't get amazed in this way, we are kind of lose attraction even to Krishna. It's true. Which is not what happens to the inhabitants in Ravana. They don't need the palaces, Even, Rath Yatra is coming up. All the Brajabasis came to Kurukshetra. And it's amazing, beautiful, chariots and elephants, and all the 4 tusks, all these wonders, whatever you want. No, we don't want that. We want Krishna back to Yamuna shore, to the lotuses, to the sweet breeze of the wind on Vrindavan, Bakulavan, somewhere in the forests. So this is the ultimate test for us, because we are so far attracted to universal form of amazement and opulence, but gradually by advancing in spiritual life, we get more amazed by personal qualities of Krishna, by his name, by his form, and so on and so on. So that's a test of real devotee, which you don't want to see. And Arjuna here obviously said, enough. I want to see your sweet 2-arm form. So Krishna briefly showed 4 arms, and finally he showed 2 arms. And everything went back to normal. But another thing is, when we reach Shrimad-Bhagavatam, we find so many places which are describing Krishna's 2-arm form as most amazing, as most beautiful, which we don't see in Bhagavad Gita. Here's the main amazement. Wow, something unusual. Sorry. But 2-arm form is not so much glorified in Bhagavad Gita, which comes later. In Shrimad-Bhagavatam, Arjuna knows his friend. He's not like something amazing, But when you gradually come through the Shrimad-Bhagavatam, you you get this pure devotion which is above the Arjunas, which is, I don't know, unbelievable when it comes to our life. But in that form, every meeting with Krishna seems to be completely fresh and new. It's called Purva Bhava. Even if you meet Krishna, you feel like meeting Krishna for the first time. So this is that amazement of the Tuam form Krishna, when you feel he's Navayavanam, he's always fresh, always new. Like every morning you look at him like, wow, I never seen him before. Have you such an experience in your life? With Krishna? Every day. Jai, he's an example of pure devotee. I can say in my family life, I had this experience once. I would say the person who was the first step in our relationship was Mataji, and she fell in love and all these, butterflies in the belly and everything. And then we had to go away, and then after months she came back. And I look at her and I said, I never seen you before. So beautiful. True, everybody has to go through the experience. And here also, Prabhupada mentioned, whatever it happens through the human beings, or between the demigods, or between the being and Lord, still all these relationships are active. Because Krishna is the source of all relationships. There was one unusual description, if you are kind of familiar with those plugs, the wall plugs. And then there's extension, the wire, and then there's a box with many, many things plug in. I think the technical name is called multivaliant, like multi-access things, something like that. So Krishna is like this. He's multivaliant. There's different plugs, the small one and the big one, and the USB and the thing and the network connection and the things. Whatever you want to plug into that box of Krishna, it's available. Whatever you have desires to have a relationship with Krishna, it's fulfilled. But you have to turn to him. You cannot do it by yourself. That relationship with the material world will be always dukhalaya shashvatam, full of misery and temporary. With Krishna, completely opposite. You can keep that relationship and it becomes sweeter and fresher every time you see him, every day, even 5 times a day. Hare Krishna. Grantraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shambhavita Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.